can do is dream each one of us of being 10% of Ted Lasso. Welcome to We Have Concerns. This is what? No, I did it. I fucked it. We haven't been doing this very long and I fucked it. I'll do it again. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Anthony, speaking of positivity, I want to talk today to you about butterflies. Can we talk about butterflies for a second?
I'd love to. Is this a butterfly? He says.
No,
that's that cool meme. That's that cool meme that the kids do.
The anime guy who says that.
Is this a butterfly?
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about butterflies because Mark, no name Knopfler, sent us a story on the old Discord, the fantastic, the wonderful Discord community, where you can post stories, you can talk to like-minded folks, you can have all sorts of great conversations over on the Discord. Mark hipped me to this story about new research into butterflies. Have you ever wondered, Anthony? I wonder if you've wondered how a butterfly handles the rain. You know what I mean?
Is that a Sarah McLachlan song?
How the butterfly handles the rain.
If it's not, hit me up, Sarah McLachlan.
It's the song where she's trying to get you to donate to those sad puppy dogs. You know,
they definitely used it on a CW show. We're a high school or college aged woman, possibly involved in some sort of supernatural thing, is looking out a window thinking about, I don't know, maybe the werewolf she loves. I don't know what's going on the CW recently. I feel like it's still the same shit. Yeah,
that sounds accurate. I think you've nailed it.
So how a butterfly handles? Well, yeah, because I would imagine.
Okay, look.
You look. I swear to God, you look. I would imagine their leaves are very delicate. I would imagine that the water would weigh them down, right?
Exactly, because we look at the world from our perspective, from our scale, and we look at the rain and it's, a mild annoyance to a big deal sometimes when it flood things. But if you're a butterfly, imagine the size of those droplets. Those are massive. In fact, according to this research, a droplet of rain to a butterfly is the equivalent of us getting pelted with bowling balls, right? The size and weight in relation to the body size and mass of a butterfly is like being hit with bowling balls. There is no universe in which a butterfly should even be able to survive a rainstorm, and yet it do. Have you ever thought about this? Because this is something I've never really contemplated before. I've thought about like insects and stuff getting smashed on windshields as I drive by. I've thought about, various relative size things, but I never really took a second to think through this idea that rain to an insect is lethal. It should be lethal. It should be terrible.
Jeff, you sound like somebody who's never seen the Bee Movie.
Oh, no. Are we going to do another episode all about the Bee Movie?
Let me tell you a little something about the Bee Movie, because I've watched it in regular speed now.
Oh, you have?
We watched it in regular speed. It was a little patron bonus for the morning show. I had to watch for It's Too Early the entire Bee Movie at 1x speed. And I'll tell you this, Jeff, bees can't fly in the rain. And young Jerry Seinfeld, young Barry B. Benson finds that out. But Jeff, can I tell you this?
They just all stay home that day?
Well, no, they have to go out. This is a day where he's job shadowing with the guys who collect pollen. And he's on his way back and he gets separated from them, and the rain starts coming down and it looks like he's going to make it back. He's going to make it back to Central Park where his hive is. But no, he gets hit. But also, Jeff, can I tell you something? He goes down, but sometimes things that look like setbacks can actually be the most beautiful events of your life, because that's how he meets Renee Zellweger, the human lady.
There's that scene. He do fuck. There's that one scene where they walk out and she turns the corner and then you hear, how does a butterfly handle the rain?
But no, that makes sense to me, because I also think about, it's weird how all of this goes back to children's movies for me. I think about I think about things like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and stuff like that, where big water droplets are going to hit and they have to run because the sprinklers turn on in the yard.
Yeah.
Is that a real scene or did I make that up? I don't know.
I have no idea. I think that's a real scene. I remember that. There's the massive moment where the huge droplet of sprinkler water is going to smash the poor kids that have been shrunk by the honey.
Yeah.
Honey shrunk the kids, right? That's the plot?
Honey did shrink the kids.
Honey, I shrunk the kid. Honey did. I shrunk the kids.
Honey, I shrunk the kids. Honey,
Anyway.
let me take that one more time. I can do it better. Honey, I shrunk the kids.
Honey, I shrunk the kids.
Honey, I shrunk the kids. It's about the kids.
It's about the kids.
It's about the kids.
Anyway, I want to introduce you to the scientist. His name is Seung-Hwan Jung, and he has done some actual research in this field. Why? How do butterflies survive bowling ball sized water droplets pummeling them from above? And it turns out it's actually pretty wild. It's a pretty sophisticated system that butterflies have evolved to be able to survive rainwater. It turns out that there are two factors on the surface area of their wings, on their body. The wings, of course, the largest surface area part of a butterfly. If you can imagine a butterfly, it's mostly wings. The wings have two layers of protection. The first are micro scale bumps. So we never knew this about butterfly before, but it turns out if you look at them on a microscopic scale, there are tiny little spikes all over their wings that serve to disperse the water as it hits. So if you imagine like they
have natural surf wax.
Well, we're going to get to the wax in a second.
Okay.
If you imagine like a water balloon coming down onto a bed of spikes, if it hits that spikes, it breaks up into a lot of pieces. So that is exactly the same thing that's happening on the surface of a butterfly's wings.
I see. It disperses the impact.
The impact, exactly. Okay. So there's less weight, less. It's not hitting them with the same impact that it would if it was one huge bowling ball sized thing. It's a bunch of little baseball or golf ball sized things.
Now that does sort of it disperses it, but there's still that impact. That's a huge impact.
It is an impact, but it actually, because the impact is broadened over a larger surface area, it's not like being hit with a bowling ball. It's like being hit with tinier things over a larger section of the body.
That still sounds like getting hit with a shotgun pellet, though. You know what I mean? For a butterfly. Yeah. I mean, it's still that same amount of mass impacting the body, but it works to prevent them from being knocked out of the sky. For example, they're able to. It's able to deflect off of a larger area of their wings. So the second piece of this puzzle is the thing that you kind of referred to earlier. There is an actual nanoscale layer of wax. Actual wax. It's kind of akin to like the oil on our skin. You know how we all have oils on our fingers. If you touch something, if you touch a window, you leave fingerprints, you can leave marks because there's oils that we secrete from our skin. Same thing with a butterfly. It is a nanoscale layer of wax that actually repels those smaller droplets of water. When the large drop of water gets broken up into smaller bits, they are then whisked away by this nanoscale layer of wax. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Incredible, right?
Yeah. Can they still fly during the rain still, or when they get hit, or do they have to is it better for them to land? They have to kind of try to stay as sedentary as they can, or as stationary as they can.
They're actually able to fly during the rain because, if you can imagine being hit with water, even human beings, you get weighted down by the water. Water weighs you down. So it's harder to fly. It would be harder to fly if you were, all of a sudden your body weight was double or whatever. But this is actually the reason why they're able to do it, is because the step one of these like little needles, these little bumps, these little protrusions on their skin breaking up. So it's reducing actually the amount of time that the drop is in contact with the surface. So it literally reduces the amount of time that it's in contact, and then it's dispersed by the wax. So it limits momentum, lowers the impact force, and then reduces the heat transfer from a cold drop as well. So they're not actually even having to deal with the, being.
They have a little all natural wetsuit.
Exactly.
It's a wetsuit, surf wax, and a little bit of Kevlar all in one.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing. And the muscles of an insect wing need to be warm in order for the wing to work, in order for them to fly. So
hold on.
They couldn't even get cold from the rain. So that actually helps in that regard as well.
Hold on, Jeff. How much of an insect's wing is muscle?
I would guess just the sort of the connective points, like a shoulder.
Yeah, right.
Guessing.
Like, because when you're saying wing musculature, I am envisioning now butterflies being so much creepier than I thought they were.
Yeah. No, if you X-ray a butterfly, it's like 90% muscle. Whoa. It's just a strong ass butterfly.
What's it using for pre-workout?
You ever seen a butterfly blast its lats?
I have.
It'll blast lats. And the great thing about a butterfly is that it can always skip leg day because it has no legs.
No, it got a little leg.
Does it have legs? I guess it has
it got a little leg. What do you think?
Legs.
What do you think? It's just skidding down on its stomach. Every time a butterfly lands, it's a fucking slip and slide situation.
Oh wait, it started as a caterpillar. Does a caterpillar have legs? It just inches along, right? Caterpillar don't have legs, does it?
Caterpillars have tons of legs.
I'm dumb.
Caterpillars have so many legs.
Caterpillar has legs.
So many legs. Yes.
Caterpillar leg. Are you thinking about a centipede?
A centipede and a caterpillar are related, my dude.
Oh, you're right. It's got legs.
Don't you remember the book The Very Hungry Caterpillar and how it's like beepy bopping around on its legs?
Oh yeah, it's got those little.
It's got little legs.
Yeah, it's got those little.
It's got the legs that they have the legs that make them. It's got the legs that make them look like they're undulating.
Yeah,
because the legs all go in one long. They all walk in like a weird. It almost looks mechanical. It's very cool. So I just had to take a look at butterfly wing anatomy here because I want to know how much muscle is in it. Each wing is one piece made of chitin, the same substance that makes its exoskeleton. The wings themselves do not have any joints or muscles. So you're right. It's just the butterfly lats.
Yeah, it's the sweet lats. Yeah.
It's the butterfly lats.
Those in order to work.
Butterflies got those wings, but not they have wings, but then they also have the wings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in order for those wings to work, they have to be warm. They can't be cold. So if you're flying through cold rain, you're screwed unless you've got this sweet system of Kevlar / wetsuit that is natural on the back of a butterfly.
Wow. So immediately, Jeff, my mind goes to, as we've talking about these sort of interesting physical properties that occur in animals naturally, my mind goes to, are we using this information to make some sort of cool Kevlar wetsuits for humans? The
answer to that is yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
This entire article, this entire interview with the scientist who goes by Sonny, everybody calls him Sonny. Sonny says, which is I guess ironic for a guy who studies rain,
but not for a guy who studies butterflies.
Yeah, good point. You know what I mean? So Sonny is in this for the human application. He says that studying this system on the back of butterflies is all about durability. It's all about finding ways to maximize durability. And he says there are applications for this two-tiered structure that can absolutely be applied to manufacturing, to large-scale buildings, vehicles. He doesn't specifically call out, apparel, but I can only imagine that once we get our, our genetically engineered wings, we're gonna want to be able to fly through the rain or through the bowling balls. You know, who knows about bowling balls? Bowling balls might fall from the sky at some point. It's 2021, for God's sake.
You ever see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? He said, bringing it back to another animated film. I love this, and I love the idea particularly of finding out about these incredibly small structural things, right? Because finding out that there are these naturally occurring sort of patterns immediately does make me think about things like textiles and like materials design, where we could put these microscopic spikes onto materials for things like cars and buildings and stuff like that, and roads, so they could disperse and sort of wick away water.
Yeah,
even
we've
more.
talked about hydrophobic paints and materials that are specifically designed. We talked about that toilet that was lined with that hydrophobic paint. I think this would be another way to sort of accomplish similar things. But Sonny seems to think that this can have an even like larger scale application to stuff that's not just water, right? It's not just about dispersing water, that it could actually talk about durability in a more robust sense, that you could talk about anything being hit with anything else. These properties could still be applied, and you could kind of figure out ways to use the same principles on a larger scale.
I love it.
It's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool research. Now, it leads me to be curious, because this article that was on Boing Boing is accompanied by a video from Sonny's lab, where he's talking about, you know, some of the experimentation that they did, and they show in ultra slow motion a water droplet impacting a butterfly, which leads me to wonder, how'd they get that footage? You know, you gotta strap a butterfly to something, right? You gotta pin a butterfly down and then spray it with water in front of the camera.
Yeah,
that's that process.
I think that's the process. Is it cool for the butterfly? Probably not.
Probably not.
Not. But this Sonny will tell you that he loves butterflies. Well, if you love butterflies so much, Sonny, why do you torture them?
We're trying to find out why they can survive rain. Did he know they could survive rain before he strapped them down and sprayed them? I don't know.
He didn't even think that he was going to find out that they were hydrophobic. He was actually just trying to get answers out of this butterfly and was waterboarding it.
Yes.
He had actually strapped down the butterfly, and he was like, what happens when you're in the cocoon? What happens when you're in the cocoon?
Where's the caterpillar? Where's the caterpillar? I walked out of this office and there was a caterpillar, and I came back and there was only you. What happened to that caterpillar?
In the cocoon where you are nothing but goo, how does your body know to reform as a butterfly? Because we still don't know that shit. No, and so he was trying to get that answer, and he was waterboarding this butterfly, and he was like, waterboarding doesn't work on butterflies, guys.
How do all your little caterpillar legs turn into four long spindly butterfly legs? How?
Answer me. And the butterfly's just sitting there. It's like, I could do this all day. I don't even feel wet. Do you feel, what do you feel? Is it starting to rain? Is that a little droplet? I don't know. Maybe not. Was it an air conditioning unit drip on me? Because I barely feel anything.
All right, man. All right. Well, I'm going to have to step this up a notch, and I'm going to get the electrodes.
Okay, now electrodes I don't like.
But then Sonny, of course, had the problem of trying to find the little caterpillar's nutsack to attach the electrodes to. That's the only way you torture people with electrodes, is my understanding. I've never attempted it, but it's my understanding.
This is an award-winning science comedy podcast. And that's why we think about things like, where do you hook the electrodes up to a butterfly nuts? And is any other science podcast going to ask that question? No, because they're real. We're not.
Also because they're lazy.
Yeah. They're afraid. They're part of big science.
Yes, exactly. We are on the fringe. We're asking the questions that no one else is willing to ask. Yeah. Like,
do butterfly have nuts?
And if so, can we electrocute them?
And listen, if we're going to keep asking these questions, we're going to need your goddamn money.
Listen, electrodes don't buy themselves, and butterfly nuts are expensive.
They're so rare and beautiful. If you want to help out the show, the best way to do it is to head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns, where in exchange for your monthly donations, we will give you, so many things. So many things. You already get the show. You're going to get that no matter what.
That's for free. We're giving that away for free. But the real good stuff is the community, the folks that hang out in that Discord, the folks that submit stories that talk about all sorts of things. I'm just browsing the Discord right now. There's the Kids Ask Your Parents section where people talk about lovely nostalgia of days gone by. There's the Games with a Z section where we talk about the video games. Bird Prank section. Face On, talking about VR. All kinds of stuff, not just about science, not just about award-winning podcasts. No. All sorts of things. And you can be a part of that Discord for as little as $1 a month.
That's right. And as your donation goes up, you get more in exchange, including bonus episodes, the little cold opens that we do for every show. Those are the end of larger conversations. That's like a second show. And also bonus videos, content, early episodes. Check it out. Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. How's your memory?
What? When?
Your memory, how is it?
It is increasingly poor. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling those effects of getting a little older. I feel like I think I have a decent memory, but I definitely have a harder time like coming up with the thing. Oh, who's that person? What's that name? Oh, I remember the thing. I can see it in my head, but I can't come up with the name. That happens to me all the time.
Yeah. And I think especially, if I'm going to be honest, especially this year is weird because there's just such a limited amount of things that are going on this year.
Yeah.
That they all, like, every day runs together just a little bit more. As we get older, as we have more things distracting us, I think a lot about how do I improve my memory?
Yeah. Is there a way? Can I do it? What pill can I take? What do I need to do?
You know, people tell you things, Jeff. They'll tell you you gotta once a week you gotta brush your teeth with the other hand. You know, you gotta play Sudoku. You gotta do things that are unfamiliar to you. You gotta solve problems. You gotta solve puzzles. Blah 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 blah. They'll tell you the working ways to keep your memory and your mind fresh. But Jeff, you know me. I fucking hate work.
You want a shortcut.
Baby, I want a shortcut.
Answer. Yeah, I want
smarter people than me to figure out ways where I don't have to do any work, but I get as smart as them.
Yeah.
It is the duty of the intelligent, hardworking people to make the lazy idiots better.
Yes, you're like the Marty McFly on the skateboard, holding onto the back of the car as it drives real fast.
Yeah, a little bit of a bad boy.
Yeah,
you know, but lovable.
A scamp. Yes, exactly. A rascal.
A rascal. Yeah, thank you. A rascal. Yes. But my best buddy, he knows how to build shit out of like plutonium.
Yes.
You know,
he does a lot of work and thinking.
He's going to do the work and eventually pay the price so I can go back in time and learn a little something about myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe smooch your mom. Maybe smooch your mom. Who knows?
Maybe smooch your mom. Who knows? It depends on whether it's the Eric Stoltz or Michael J. Fox version. Sometimes you smooch your mom and sometimes you like it. That's the Eric Stoltz version.
Yeah.
Sometimes your mom smooches you and it's weird for both of you and it's not a good idea. And that's the Michael J. Fox version. And that's why Michael J. Fox
got the job
and kept the job.
That's right. Nobody wants to Stoltz their mom. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't Stoltz your mom. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I've been, you know, this was sent into the Discord by, I gotta say, the cool thing about the Discord is sometimes people don't even need nicknames. You know what I'm saying? Because their Discord names are so good.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about giving this guy a nickname. This was sent in by Chekhov's Schrodinger's cat.
That's solid. That's strong.
That's very strong. That's two of my favorite bits put together.
That's right.
And he sent this in. This was a new study out of Northwestern University.
I think that's what you said. Just real quick. I think that's when you introduce.
If you introduce a cat that either is dead or alive
in the first act. Yeah. And then
that cat you must show the cat that is dead or alive at the end.
Yeah. You have to shoot that cat by the end of at the end.
But you don't give away whether it's dead or alive.
No, of course not. But you have to shoot that cat.
Yeah. This was a study from Northwestern University about using transcranial magnetic stimulation, our old friend.
Oh, I love a little TCM.
That's Turner Classic Movies. We're talking about TMS. But I do love Turner Classic Movies.
I like TNT as well.
Oh, they know drama. So,
and TBS.
Very funny. So
I thought I could stump you, and I didn't. That was amazing.
It's because I participated in this study. My memory is like...
Oh, your memory is sharp. So did you electrocute... We're talking about sending electric shocks into our brain. We've talked about this many times on a number of levels, on all kinds of ways of trying to amplify the capabilities of the brain by literally stimulating it with electricity.
Yeah, electromagnets. It's not acute shocks. That's not what this is. This is a low intensity sort of electromagnetic energy that is applied to specific areas of the brain that we know are responsible for specific things. We talked about a study previously that was all about learning languages and how people are more receptive to learning, understanding, and speaking different languages when they study with TMS applied. I am like, look, I know that you shouldn't be able to do this at home, but like, I'm waiting for the first like big consumer product where you do this at home.
Oh yeah. I want to French kiss my wall socket and learn French. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And kissing. That's a 2-for-1.
That's a 2-for-1.
You learn French kissing and French. But so basically they ran a study on people. We take in a lot of information every day. And we talk about how our brain filters down that information and tries to remember what it thinks will be important. Right. So we forget certain background details or certain circumstances to remember the pertinent information. But sometimes that information just gets filtered because it's all kind of not very important. Right.
Right.
For instance, you may remember watching your wife put the can opener away, but you don't remember what drawer. But you know she put it away. You remember seeing it. You may remember having lunch with a friend and you remember where you went to lunch. You don't remember what they ordered or what color their shirt was, right? But you know you went to lunch and you remember what you discussed.
Yeah.
Northwestern University wanted to know, is there a way where we could up the amount of that information that we remember from...
Always remember the color of their shirt.
Always remember the color of their shirt. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. All of these things. Can we remember more? And so what they did was they showed a bunch of people videos of just kind of regular everyday things, complex events. You wouldn't consider these complex events, but they are, right? Because you're trying to remember a lot of things. Who was in the kitchen? What thing were they putting away? Where did they put it away? There's a lot of different information that you're trying to remember. So they showed a bunch of video clips to healthy young adults in a controlled lab setting to show how much they could remember of these sequences of events.
Right. Did they tell them going in that this is about remembering stuff, or did they just show them a thing and then afterwards quiz them on what they recall?
They were told, hey, we're going to show you a bunch of video clips and then we're going to ask you questions about what you see. So they didn't tell them it was about memory, but they didn't particularly prime them about memory, but they let them know going in, you're going to be quizzed on these video clips.
Okay.
So They watch the video clips. They write down their answers. Then they come back. They watch a different set of video clips of similar complexity, but with the TMS applied, and get asked questions. So instead of showing them like pictures or lists of words, it was like videos of somebody folding laundry, somebody taking out the trash, day-to-day things.
Okay.
Following stimulation, the group answered far more questions about details correctly, above delta.
I remember the pain of the electricity in my brain.
Okay, but
I remember every second of it.
I know, Daryl. But can you remember? Do you remember the lady who was folding laundry in the video?
She looked at me when I was the pain in my hair.
Okay,
she was wearing a blue smock. And
there
she
it
looked
is,
at me,
blue smock.
It hurt so much.
Okay, Daryl, we're done asking about.
Brain.
No, we're done asking about the pain, Daryl. We have to move beyond that.
I'll never forget her. I'll never forget.
But here's the thing: the study not only allowed them to answer more questions like, "Oh, I know what color shirt she was wearing." "Oh, yeah, there was a tree in the background." Now that you ask, yeah, all that stuff. They also more accurately answered questions about, they actually found that the brain stimulation led to higher quality reinstatement of memories in the brain overall. So reinstatement is this isn't just the recall of facts. Reinstatement is the real power of memories. Reinstatement is do you know sometimes when you remember something and it feels like time travel, you're almost back in the memory.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a high quality memory, right? That's usually something that's very important to us or something that's very pivotal. And we can experience this reinstatement that almost takes us back to that moment. TMS allows people to have a higher level of reinstatement for average memory.
So this is TMS that's happening after the thing has happened. It's not TMS that you don't have to be stimulated in the moment you want to recall later. You have to be stimulated and then you can recall things from before you were ever stimulated.
So no. You are stimulated during.
Oh, okay. So if I want to remember something, I need to be stimulated during the thing, and then that memory is more locked in than it is. So it's not like, oh my God, I want to remember third grade. I'm going to do some TMS and I'll be able to recall third grade. It's that in third grade, I would have had to have the TMS.
Exactly.
And then that will be stuck. Okay. I got you.
Exactly. So as you're watching these clips, you are having the TMS applied to the memory centers of your brain. So we found that applying the correct amount of TMS.
Electrify all the children is the solution, right?
Yeah, usually, yes. And in this case, yes. Because in those past TMS studies that we read about, when you stimulate the language center of a brain with the right amount of the electromagnetic energy, that it just performs at a higher capacity, and it performs at a more. So that's the same thing that's happening with the forming of this memory. So with the forming of this memory, you could have, that memory that you have where you can go back. That's, I don't know, your first date or the first, winning the big spelling bee, whatever your big memory is that you can do reinstatement for, you can do reinstatement for more mundane memories. And that's the interesting thing about this to me, because how people are always telling you, people who have really good memories are always telling you oh, you have to build a mind palace, or you have to you have to connect the memory to a physical thing. And then it's I can picture myself in the mind palace and I can be there and I can feel the thing. And they're almost, that to me is, they're forcing reinstatement. When I think about the mind palace now,
they're creating a physical location in their mind that it has features that can be applied. That's how those competitive memory folks that memorize decks of cards or long strings of random numbers. That's how they do it. They create narrative, right? They're creating one crazy peanut was in the sack with 7, clowns that were jumping up and down. So they see the images in their head, and then that leads to this.
Yeah, in that example, you're using the peanut clown algorithm, which is extremely, extremely viable. We've found in the
it's very high
recollection of
level.
memories.
I didn't want to get too advanced on you, but I went straight to peanut clown.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go straight to peanut clown. I mean, in all honesty, like whatever YouTube tutorials you're watching that are telling you start slow, go straight to peanut clown.
Yeah, you can skip to peanut clown.
You can skip to peanut clown. But I think that's interesting because I hadn't thought about it that way. You know, obviously I'd been watching, you know, episodes of Sherlock or whatever where he's doing the memory palace, and it's like, boom, boom, and he's you know, flipping memories around, and he's in a room and he's doing the whole thing. And it didn't occur to me, like they were trying to find a way to show what he was doing, but it occurs to me that you're forcing reinstatement for every single memory. And that's how it works. But this also causes a natural amount of reinstatement by just like kind of overclocking the memory centers of your brain, which is why I just want an electrode in the base of my skull that gives me these superpowers, Jeff.
Well, that's my big question here is this only applicable in short bursts, or if you had just a constant state all the time, would it result in just a higher plateau or a higher, you know, low mark for memory? I can't even speak English. I need this in my head.
Put it in my skull.
Would it raise your you know, lower bound of what you recall if you're just constantly stimulated, or does it only work because it's a contrast to your normal state in your brain?
Yeah. Is this something where do you want to overclock all the time, or is that going to burn out the processor? Right.
Yes. Right.
Or is this something that you just want to turn on when you need it? Right.
When you're like, oh my God, I'm about to have my first kiss. Hang on. I'm going to apply these electrodes to my head for one quick second. I'll just stay right in the just do not. I'm really excited about this, but I just want to remember it forever. I'm going to put these on. That kind of thing. Imagine
an implant that's in your brain or in your skull or something that's also paying attention to other biometric information, like things like heart rate and particular amounts of things like adrenaline or something like that. And like, so it's like, oh, this is an important moment. Beep, and it clicks
That's cool,
on.
But also that's kind of what your body is already doing, right? You do remember, like if you're, oh my God, I'll never forget the moment I got in that car accident because my body went insane and like it gets frozen in my brain. But I want the thing to, every time I set my keys down in my house, it goes in my head. And so I remember exactly where my keys are.
It's like a tile on your keychain, but when it senses that it's been set down, it sets off the tile in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just shock me every time I put my keys somewhere. You know what I'm saying? My wallet.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would love that. I find this stuff fascinating because, you know, right now they're not applying this to people long term because it's just, I don't think it's a good idea. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Like
it's impractical.
I'm no scientist, but like, and I'm no neuroscientist for sure, but like, do not be constantly electric someone's brain.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If they always remember stuff, they'll always remember stuff, you know?
Feels like eventually, that seems like recipe eventually for bad brain or tumor or something. I don't know.
I think you came up with the perfect analogy with overclocking. It does feel like I'm going to push the CPU a bit beyond its factory settings, and we'll see how long it can last. You know,
you listen, sometimes it takes a couple tries, but you really get that TDM dialed in, and it's like it runs quiet, it runs clean, but you get an extra like 10 frames a second in your favorite games. That's what you want for brain.
I want 10 frames a second more of memory. That's what I'm looking for, you know?
That's what I'm looking for too. And I do wonder what this is going to do in terms of, you know, they did find that the constant stimulation over time to the people who are learning languages, because their brain figured out the optimal way to learn languages when it was under the stimulation.
Yeah,
they did get a little bit of a benefit in everyday life, right? Because your brain makes those connections, and once those connections are made, they're kind of there. you know?
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I wonder if there's something to be said. I wonder if there is something to be said where eventually, in terms of the consumer product, if this isn't something you have in your house that you wear like 5 minutes a day and you're like, I want to focus on this part of my brain, or I want to focus on this part of my brain. And
Yeah.
how do I kind of like, it's, you know, like a little home workout.
Yeah, exactly. You sit down with a little textbook or something you want to learn. You know, you're learning a language, or you're maybe working on the piano. You know, some skill that you want to acquire, and you just put on you can call it the thinking cap. Put on your thinking cap. It just shoots into your brain some extra juice. Zip zip. Now you've learned stuff. You
Just a
retain
little
it.
zip zip. And that can be their slogan. Zip zip. Now you've learned stuff.
Thinking
I like
cap.
that. Thinking cap. Man, that piano is still in my living room, Jeff. That keyboard is still in my living room.
I'm sure it is, man.
It's
I've downloaded
I feel so guilty. I'm just looking at it every
It's
day.
a
I'm
guilt
like,
machine now is what it is.
It's a beautiful 3-octave guilt machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Staring right back at you every day, not moving.
It's not going anywhere, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That keyboard's not going anywhere. The question is, am I going to sit over at the keyboard? And the answer is usually no. And I feel bad.
Yeah. 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 We're a 12th of the way into the new year. And I'm still like, well, you know, I could start on my New Year's resolution in a couple of days. I could start learning that language. I downloaded another language app.
Which one did you get this time?
The, what's it called? Things with a B. I should know this.
Better fucking stick this time, the app.
Yeah, better fucking stick this time. Oh boy, where is it? Anyway, it's another one that I've used twice. And then
Yeah.
I was gonna do meditation.
Oh, now
That
meditation.
happened
Meditation,
twice.
I do. Meditation, that is the one thing that's stuck, and it's because you could do a 5-minute, you can do a 10-minute.
Yeah, I know, but I don't.
No, you don't, and I'm not guilting
don't.
you for it. But it's stuck with me. But it's one of the few things that has stuck, and that's why I just want this brain chip, man. I want to learn.
Yeah.
I
want
want
to
to
learn. I just don't want to put in any of the work to learn.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to put in the time, but then other shit happens,
Yeah.
and I got to put off the thing.
Yeah.
So let me put the chip in my brain, so I get it. So I do it.
Give me the chip.
Give me the chip, baby.
Because you know what? I like Twitter is also on my phone, you know? And that's hard to not look at. So give me the chip, dude.
You have not. I've noticed that you have not checked into the Memento Mori room on the Discord server in a very long time.
I got to do it.
You got to do
Sloughing off, man. I'm sloughing off.
Nah. You know what? Hey, it's 2020 part 2, and we're all sloughing off a little bit. But maybe one day we'll all have a thinking cap in our houses, and we'll be able to stay on top of things.
Here's hoping. Here's
Here's
thinking
hoping.
caps are right around the corner.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's the best. And, you know, thank you even more for telling your friends about the show. Our entire marketing strategy is your word of mouth. So we appreciate when you use it.
Much like the strategy that I have of waiting for the smarter, better, more energetic people to do the work for me, I need you to spread the word about the show.
Do our marketing. Please do our marketing.
Honestly, if I could be honest, though, the best thing anyone can do to support the show is just share a link, tell your friends, let them know, because that brings more concerned citizens into the community, more people listening and learning and hanging out and sloughing off responsibilities together. And isn't that what life is about?
It makes us all feel better when there's more of us doing it.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Bring more intelligent, inquisitive, but lazy people into the fold. We appreciate it.